So where we got to? It's another day, another dollar, as they say. So right, I'm just taking the head off, and well, quite interestingly, we've got another 90mm piston in here, as we can possibly see here. What's even more interesting is the right word. It's had a well, it's had the edge of the piston sort of dremeled away here, so I don't know what kind of clearances we've got with this. The valve pockets don't look overly deep on this, so but no, we'll do another valve to piston measurement when we're obviously assembling it. That's assuming it doesn't need a new piston or anything like that. I mean, hopefully it won't. Don't look particularly very old, that, does it? But definitely been kind of dremeled away on the lead to the pocket. Anyway, let's so I turned this yesterday. Don't know if I can. I had a bit of oil in the sump. Just let me put this down a little bit. There's a bit of oil in the sump like the last one. Get a screwdriver. Put my torch down. There's a bit of oil in the sump, and on the other one, I know we had it on the drill. So if I can just turn that. Maybe it needs to be quicker. Yeah, I would have thought we've maybe seen a little bit of an appearance here, but I'm sure it is because it's definitely wet and there's actually oil up into the camshaft and stuff. So, but we're going to kind of try and see what if there's a difference in this one to the last one, and also if there is a difference, and possibly block it off a little bit just to maybe send a little bit more oil this way as per the previous one. But work in progress. This is all pretty experimental. Well, the whole thing's an experimental, being a wet sump, but to kind of alter the fluid flow is a little bit experimental, as we've discussed with the owner. But so anyway, this is engine number 2. Wants to be checked because of the failure on engine number 1. So look, we're just looking. We're going to have a look in. It's been running, I'm sure he said a couple of 3 years. This one's been a couple of 3 seasons. This one's been running, but there's definitely not much carbon or whatever in there, is there? So yeah, I think I said on the last video, one bit of research is this bearing here. That I thought, on everyone I've seen up to now, I'm not saying this is wrong, but on everyone I've seen up to now, there's usually a dual row of smaller balls in there. But anyway, maybe it's superseded or whatever, I don't know, but we'll have a look into that anyway. And it feels alright, but and it obviously is alright if it's been running, you know, doing 3 seasons. So anyway, we'll come back to that. We're going to plod on, get into getting this stripped down a bit further. Next stage, we'll have the barrel off, so I'll pick it up in a minute. I'm going to undo these 3 and the alley barrel bolts, and then we'll pick it up in a minute. I'm going to put it back on tripod, and then we can see it together as she pops out, so to speak. Okay, so we've got all the cylinder stubs out. Put them away. Right, I don't know how easy this is going to be. What we're thinking. I've had 1 or 2 difficulties with these, but you know, the gasket really sticks them down. So time for, if I can find it, just a little bit of a tap with a plastic hammer. the safest places. The most kind of meat to it is, there we go, is on there. The silicon. It's a silicon. Right, okay. A bit of a persuasion. Now threading the screwdrivers. Just give it a... Oh, yeah, give it a bit of a bear hug. Here, look up. Here, look up. A bit of dowel. Yeah, there's a dowel at this side. So, yeah. Right, just when you push the gas in back there, that was all. Yeah, here we go. Right. Okay, we're at top dead centre, and just check what you're seeing. Yeah, not my ugly mug. There we go. Right, so piston at the top. I want to just carefully, crank looks nice on this one. Carefully catch the piston. Not catch the pigeon. Catch the piston. Right. Okay, I think immediately on, in fact let me get rid of these washers. Out we come, all of you. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Right, I think, looking at that, I don't know if we can see this. I think we're going to have a little bit. We don't guess, we measure, but when we look at the piston, we're getting again quite a lot of scores up this piston. Let me see if I can see that hole down there. No, not yet. Are we seeing that on here? Seeing the scores in the piston? Yeah, not as bad as the other one. Definitely not as bad as the other one. It's a cast piston. It's not a forged piston. It's a cast one, as you can see under there. So what I'm going to do, we'll get piston off, and then we'll do some piston to bore measurements. So just let it sit back in there because that's where it wants to go. Okay. Yeah, we've again. I mean, what I was going to say with that, I don't know if you can see that now. Can you see? Let me just try and get it in the camera. You can see the thrust side going up the bore. You see that? Immediately on seeing that, you think we've got a bit of piston bore clearance. That's the one that made me look. You've seen that in there? Just make sure this camera goes off, so I can't see what's actually been. But we're seeing that's generally the rock in the piston that's causing that. So it'd be interesting. Let's do some piston bore measurements. And take it from there. I mean, we can still see quite a lot of honing in there, but there is some pickup marks where it's tried to pick up. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so okay, so we need to get the measuring gear out. Bit of a tool up again. Get the measuring gear out, piston off, and then we'll do some ring gap measurements and, like I say, piston to bore measurement. So bear with me. So piston off. Doesn't look old. Definitely doesn't look particularly old. But yeah, a cast piston. I don't know whose make that is, but anyway, right. So seeing the piston. It's a pretty deep gouge there in the side of that piston. And generally when you can see the matte and then the shine, it's where there's an excessive rock in the cylinder. But we'll come to that in a minute. What does concern me slightly more is, see if I can get this on the camera. Can we see the wear there in the, is it the coating, is it the, so looking round it and trying to get underneath it, etc. So first thing I did, let's put the gudgeon pin back in and let's see. Are you seeing that? We'll take this off, this torch. You can actually see it. And on the end of the gudgeon pin that shouldn't be particularly warm, that's in the piston, it's still as bad. It's got Yamaha on it. I'd put money on it that's the original rod for this engine, so what we're looking at, 1980. I mean, okay, it doesn't have to be, but you get what I'm saying at. I believe that that's the side to side. I mean, there's a bit more than that one I put in the other engine, isn't there? But again, we'll look at what Yamaha say the clearances should be. We can measure it, we'll field gauge that up. The crank looks really nice, rotates nicely, but it is, the main bearings are a little bit noisy. I hope that's picking that up. Get that copper washer off there. I keep meaning to get it off. See the copper washer on here and put it with a banjo bolt. Anyway, right, I'm going to take the rings off and then we can do ring gap measurements and piston to bore. So I'm going to put this back on the tripod. So what we're going to do, we're on the tripod, we're on the tripod. Okay, let's have a look. Just put him to the side a minute. So right, using my piston ring pliers, using my piston ring pliers, I mean, it was certainly lubed, but there is some quite deep scoring in here. And like I say, when you get the shiny, matte, shiny, generally it gives you an indication that we've got a lot of rock in there. But we're also, with that gudgeon pin, we're going to have sideways rock like this. So, there's the gap. Right, I'm going to put it down and with ring pliers. So we've got top, okay, I probably have to be with these, eh? Let me try it that way. It's a fiddly frickin' job. Same as anything, you need 3 hands, don't you? Second ring. Okay. Now, is that a 3-piece oil ring? Yes, it is. So, 3-piece oil rings, out they come. So that was the top. Where's the gap? There's the gap. Not there. That's the friggin' eyesight ain't what it used to be, I'll tell you. Get that out. Here. Middle. There. Bottom. Wheelie gloves. Right. So we've got, that's the bottom, there's the middle, and there's the top. Okay. Right. So, let's have a look at this. So we've got top, middle and bottom. Pliers back away. Alright, let's just have a very quick does look quite a bit, doesn't it? It does. So, right, can I throw some light on it like that? Does that make it worse? Maybe. Let me get my feeler gauge. Let's have a look. So yeah, what? Can't remember on the other one. What did I say it should be? We'll get the specs out in a minute. What's that? Just let me have a look what that is. Right, there's a 2 thou. So we'll keep him out. I mean, it should be a bit more than 2. There's a 3. We've got a 2 and a 3. Never find him when you're on the it's kind of live in it, eh? Where are we? 5. We're somewhere near that. Okay, 2 and 3 will keep out, and 5 will keep out. Can't find 4. Usually the case. So let's go for actually not as bad as I thought. And that was what, 2. Okay, let's try the 3. Try the 3. That way around, and then that's out of the way. Well, put it away now, isn't it? Is it in them that are hiding there? Should have had this prepped really, shouldn't I? Before. Yeah, I should. Oh, there's the 4. 4. Quite easy to push through at 4 thou. Now 4 thou is 4 thou's. I mean, it'll hold its own weight, but 4 thou is. I think it's going to come up maybe 5 to 6. So let's have a chat with the owner time here. I mean, it would probably go back in, but looking at the bore, I think it's time because we're getting a rock in the bore. So anyway, I'm going to sign up at this because I think we need to have a chat, and yeah, we'll take it from there. We'll sign up here and we'll pick it up in a minute. Okay, just showing what we've got on our bore gauge. Now, 0, a minus number is over the 90. I've got the micrometer here set to 90mm. We've transferred the 90mm measurement and verified it with a vernier into the bore gauge, and we've now got, as we're looking at it here, we've now got the minimum I can get it to, because obviously you can crank it like that, you can get a real negative number. So I'm looking for the minimum I can get it to. So the minimum I can reach out in here and get is 0.04 of a mil. Can we get a thou on that? Got 1.5 thou to minimum I can get it to. Is kind of 1.5 on the thrust sides. 1.5, yeah. We're on 1.5 thou. We've got about 1.5 thou wear over and above 90mm. The minimum I can get this to, is that seeing it? The minimum I can get this to 1.5, look, that's the low, and then it goes to 2, and then back to 2. So on the thrust sides, hoping that's seeing it. Maybe, yeah, 1.5 there, 1.5 again. 2, about 2, halfway down the bore, we've got about 2 thou. 1.5 there where the rings don't swipe, so we're at kind of 1.5 thou. We're at a 1 there, sort of 1, there's a 1. So on that side, let me just turn it around and look at the non kind of thrust side. It's the minimum I can get that to 1. I saw a 1 there a minute ago. Yeah, so what we've got essentially is about 1.5 to 2 thou wear. Again, that's midpoint according to, remember the book? The book said 4 thou wear. Okay, so we've got 1.5 to 2 thou bore wear in here. We're just going to want a little bit of a hone. There's a few marks in it, but nothing drastic. So with that in mind, I want to. We've got a bit in the bore, and at the very tip of the piston skirt, very tip of the piston skirt measured there is 90, and it's let the piston go. I've got to try and hold it down here again to get it set. So the wear's in the piston for me, most of the wear. We can still see honing marks in the bore, and I'm sorry, I didn't know what that was looking at there. Was it looking at up there? Right, okay. I'm just trying to measure the piston with a vernier, sorry, with a micrometer, and you can see already the wear is in the piston. So to get it back, I mean, it's just gone outside spec. You could use it again. So I do think this is a conversation with the owner. So it's just gone outside. The bore's got 2 thou on it, 1.5 to 2 thou wear in the bore, and the rest of it is around kind of 3 thou, 2.5 to 3 thou in the piston. So pretty definitive. What we need to do, we could be looking at the same as the other engine in another piston, and you know, we're hanging on a rod kit in this on that little end, with no way of knowing for absolute sure what the big end's like, because the only way of knowing that is to press it apart. So anyway, we'll have a conversation, and we'll pick it up when we start pulling the cases apart.